Chris Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14 presented by Stakes. We are here to go over SEC basketball games for Tuesday night. We got 4 of them. We'll go in order of tip-off. Blake, we got 2 6 o'clock games. The first one we'll discuss, Auburn and its rematch with Texas A&M. The Aggies, of course, last time these two teams played, snapped what I believe was a 29-game home court winning streak for Auburn. This one, of course, in College Station. Now, we don't have the lines. We are doing this Monday morning, but what we do have is an idea of what the line might be between Ken Pomeroy, Bart Torvik, BPI, and Jeff Sagarin. We averaged those, and the Aggies are almost a 3-point favorite. Now, there's some discrepancy here. BPI has got A&M as about a 5.5-point favorite. Jeff Sagarin with the home court advantage has got this exactly 0.0. Sagarin does not do probabilities. The other three computers do. Those average out to A&M with a 63% chance to win. Blake, it would stand to reason that the Aggies win the rematch given they won the first one so decisively in Auburn, but that's not always how basketball works. What are your thoughts here?
Well, it's tough for Auburn to go from playing at Tennessee in that kind of game to now having to go to A&M and play in this kind of game. And I think that's one aspect that stands out here, because think about the teams that Auburn has played over the past 2 weeks. Yes, they played Georgia, but they played A&M, West Virginia, Tennessee, and now they're going to play A&M again. Think about the physicality of all those teams and the style of play defensively with all those teams. And you wonder why Auburn has been frustrated at times on the offensive side of the floor. I think that continues here because I think A&M has not lost a home game since losing to Wofford on December the 20th. They've been a different team, as we've said. And if you go back to that first game, why did A&M beat Auburn? Well, one of the reasons why is Tyrese Radford just went off for 30. Probably hard to get 30 again in this game, second time around, because you know Bruce Pearl is going to have a plan in place to make sure that does not happen. But Auburn did not shoot the ball well, 3 of 16 from 3. You know A&M is going to continue to try to push them out, make them make shots from outside. Auburn needs to get to the free throw line here. A&M still needs to get to the free throw line. We talked about kind of how both teams have used that to their advantage in certain games this season. And I think that's it to me. This was like one of those where, like, Auburn, I mean, they have to just be, physically beaten up right now in terms of playing these kind of teams like this. 4 of their last 5 games now are going to come against this group of teams we just said. And so I feel like it's a hard ask to go and win this game. But not to say they can't, right? Because this does feel like a pretty evenly type matchup game. You've got revenge factor, all that in play. But I've said it, many times now. I think A&M is here to stay, and I think this is one of the games they have to win if that's going to be the case, because they went in and just completely took care of business at Neville Arena. We hadn't seen anybody do that in a while, and not just winning there, but how they won was even more impressive. So, yeah, I'm gonna pick A&M here. I look at the way this team is playing right now, and we can look at the numbers and say this or that, but I think it's time to realize that this is not the team that we saw 2 months ago for A&M. This is a much different team now, and I don't know how you couldn't be impressed with how they're playing overall right now. So,
yeah, I'm with you. Take the Aggies. That one, 6 o'clock Central, ESPN2 at the same time. Ole Miss and Georgia. Blake, these might be the 2 teams that are playing worse than anybody in the league. Well, no, that's not true. South Carolina and LSU would be in that discussion. But Georgia, really about 3 weeks ago, we were very high on the way Mike White's team was playing. Terry Roberts Jr. has since suffered an injury. I don't know his status for this one. Ole Miss has just been awful. Lost 10 in a row, something like that, 9 of 10. It's been bad. The computers have Georgia as about a 2.5-point favorite at home. I'm a little surprised it's not more than that. That's basically the margin of the home court advantage, making this a pick'em game, or maybe Ole Miss by a half point on a neutral floor. I think the computers have overrated Ole Miss a little bit all year. Now, the Rebels do have Matt Morrell back and have been competitive at times. Oh, man, I don't like the way their team's playing, but this feels like a little bit of a bounce-back opportunity for Georgia at home.
Yeah, it was a good game the first time, and good, I guess, relative to it being close. But this is a tricky one for me because I think this is one where like I can see Ole Miss pulling this off. Not just because it's you would project that as a close game, but I just have not loved what I've seen from Georgia recently, and it's like you find pick some upsets somewhere. I don't know if I may do this one because Georgia's been pretty disappointing, and like you said, the Roberts thing. I mean, if he doesn't play, that adds another element to it. Um, that makes it challenging, perhaps, but yeah, I say all that. I'll pick the home team. That's kind of what we do here in these kind of games, and um, yeah, both teams were in a bit of a different place the first time this game was played 3 weeks ago. I just don't think Georgia. Since then, Georgia's not looked great. Now they played some good teams, and that's what we said. That's part of it. But even that game against South Carolina, right? They had to struggle to win that one at home. Um, I'll pick Georgia, but I don't love it. I think this is a game that could go a million different directions because I don't see a lot of positive trends for either team at the moment. And so, in that case, what do? You pick the home team, and I'll do that here, I suppose.
Yeah, and to be fair, or to be fair is not the word. I guess to bring out all sides of this. Ole Miss got Matt Morrell back. He wasn't great. They played well, had a shot to win at Vandy on Saturday for what that's worth. So it's not that Ole Miss has thrown in the towel yet. So I think we're both on the same page. We're not crazy about the way either team is playing, and it's hard to put much confidence in either. All right, 8:00 on the SEC network. South Carolina visits Missouri. Computers have Missouri as about an 18-point favorite with about a 95% chance to win. But Blake, we have talked about the bizarre resume that is South Carolina's. The Gamecocks play much better on the road than they do at home. Let me just give you some examples here. Carolina's last 4 games working backwards, an 81-78 loss at Georgia in overtime, an 81-60 loss at Florida, which has been playing well. So that was the blowout. 3 games ago, you had the 71-68 win at Kentucky, and the road game before that, the Gamecocks lose 84-79 at Vandy in overtime. So 3 of these 4 games, Blake, the Gamecocks have played pretty well on the road, but guess who's played well at home too?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not ready to go there with this one just yet. I get it. They have played better, as we said. Give them credit. They haven't quit, and for a team like this, it would be very easy to do that just based on how the season's gone. But they have not, and we said, I mean, they have a shot to beat Arkansas at home on Saturday, and now they go to a Missouri team that, yes, has struggled on the road, but boy, they've been pretty good at home at times, and I'm just not ready to go there. I like to kind of sandbag things a little bit when it comes to Missouri, but probably not going to do that here because I just feel like if Missouri is playing the way they should take care of business in convincing fashion in this game because you just look at to me, this is the way Missouri forces turnovers, easy buckets. I think this is kind of one of those games where I feel like you could see that on display. Just with, again, how Missouri plays on the defensive end. And I think that's important here because you just look at, for South Carolina, not a great offensive team, right? And they will probably get some easier looks against a team like Missouri that still is not there yet defensively all the way, as we know. Second chance opportunities are crucial. We always say that about a lot of SEC teams, right? Good offensive rebounding team that gets some second chance opportunities. South Carolina's been okay at that. So that's something they can lean on because Missouri rebounding margin is not great, as we know. So there's your path to success. Oh, and maybe hit 15 threes. I think that's also something that'll help. South Carolina shot the 3 well at Kentucky. That's why they could pull off the upset there. But I don't feel like this is a great matchup because of how Missouri plays at home. And, this one's in the other Columbia. Hey, all bets are off, perhaps, even though, like you said, South Carolina's played better on the road. But I think Missouri, with the way they play offense at home and with how they force turnovers, I just don't know how you could do anything other than just say that Missouri should win this game going away here, the more experienced team. South Carolina's size is the only thing I would look at here, rebounding wise, that could possibly present some issues. But I'd like to see Missouri get back to sort of its normal rotation here, and if they do that, I can't imagine this is anything more than a Missouri win. So
Also at 8 Central, this one on ESPN, Arkansas visits Kentucky. Both teams playing pretty well. Arkansas wasn't exactly great in a narrow win at South Carolina, but you go back to the Baylor game, they played pretty well. Kentucky's won 6 of 7, had a nice win over Florida, started that stretch with the win in Knoxville. The computers have Kentucky as about a 2.5-point favorite with about a 59% chance to win. Lines on this vary. Bart Torvik's got Kentucky by 1 all the way up to Kentucky by 4 at BPI, which has loved Kentucky more than anybody all year. Hard to bet against the Cats at home right now, Blake.
Well,
or not.
This is an interesting one because, again, you look at these two teams. We know it's always quite an interesting game. I would expect this to be one that, just in terms of probably, I think you'll see some free throw shot in this one. Feels like one of those games. Just again with how both teams can do some things offensively, and my issue I keep saying with Arkansas is their defense has slipped a little bit too, at times. But remember that's at times. And I think those are in, you go back to the Missouri game, right? Like that's kind of an extreme example. We remember how that game played out. The Vanderbilt game, those kind of games, right? Like we talked about that throughout the season. When Arkansas was struggling, it's kind of when the defense slips a little bit. But really in the past several games, even at Baylor, it's played a little bit. They're playing better on that end of the floor. And I think that can give you some hope here. Like that's the theme we were sticking to for a while. Boy, the defense is slipping. Well, I think, again, when you look at how they're going to be able to sort of approach Kentucky from an offensive standpoint, and we know, we keep saying it, Kentucky's better with Casey Wallace having the ball in his hands, and they still need to get some guys hitting shots like Frederick and Reeves. When that happens, Kentucky's really hard to beat. So if Arkansas has gone from we're slipping a bit defensively to now we're figuring some things out on that end of the floor, they got a chance here. But what I don't know about is the offensive side for Arkansas. And because like we've said, it's hit or miss, right, in terms of just the rotations. And every game's going to need something a little bit different. You're coming off a game where you didn't play great at South Carolina. You have to kind of hang on to win that one. But, this is another game where it's like, what did we say before? It's guess who's going to play 40 minutes? I can guarantee. Trivia question. Like, I guarantee you, I know who's going to play 40 minutes in this game. There's
Council,
at least 3. Yes,
Black,
Council, Black, and Davis. They're going to play 40 minutes. They have to. Walsh may get there.
Sheboy.
Sheboy may
on the other side.
Yeah, but like,
let's play them all 40 minutes.
How about a game where you can only play your starters? How about that?
My team is on the floor.
In that case, I don't know if that would benefit Kentucky necessarily, but yeah, I mean, there's so many ways you can go here. Like I just think Kentucky, they've won 6 in a row in SEC play, as we've said, and that's the important part here is they're backing her up. I do think this is a game where you'll see some free throw shot, because Arkansas gets to the line, but Arkansas can also foul a bit. And so I think that's something that will come into play here. But, oh, boy. Yeah, I'm going to pick Kentucky. I just think this is one, again, you're picking the home team in these kind of scenarios. But I'm curious to see what Muss does, or what Muss has to do, perhaps, with the rotation in this game. Because like I said, it is, I think, one of the more fascinating storylines here is how Arkansas approaches defending Kentucky. But also, let's say someone gets in foul. And you can't go into every game saying, well, this guy's going to get in foul trouble. We don't know that. But, those adjustments, which I think Muss has been pushing the right buttons here out of necessity, what kind of adjustments have to be made in this game? Because it's going to happen. Like there's going to, someone maybe gets a couple early fouls. Kentucky gets on a hot run. Maybe you need a little more of this or a little more of that. I'm very curious to see how this is going to play out from that standpoint with Arkansas, because I just think there's so many different elements when you're playing this Kentucky team right now and the way they're starting to figure it out. They have figured it out. I just think there's Frederick hit some shots. Reeves hit some shots, Chris. I mean, Kentucky can get going right now. But yeah, I think the Cats are probably the pick here. So,
All right, I'm going to give you some hypotheticals for a bro throw bet if you got one here. And again, these are the spreads. We don't have these because we're doing this Monday morning, and the spreads don't usually come out till Tuesdays. But here's what we got based on what the computers are averaging. This will be A&M -3, Georgia -2.5, Missouri -18, and Kentucky -2.5. I think I know which one I would go, but I want to hear from you.
say that again. Give me the list again.
Okay, these are the lines based on the computers. Texas A&M -3, Georgia -2.5, Missouri -18, and Kentucky -2.5. All 4 home teams are favored here.
Well, how about this, Chris? You've just asked me a great question, a truly tremendous question you've just asked me. So you know what that means I'm going to do. It's time to stall because I don't have an answer for you right now. But what I do have an answer for is what you can do if you want to bet on these games at BroThrow. So as you can see here, we've been pushing BroThrow for a while, our great sponsor here. And if you want to bet on these games, you can see the slate as we're recording this on Monday. Here's the Monday night slate. All right. You see all these games here. If I want to go in and say, you know what, give me Duke +3 against Miami. Well, who am I betting against? I'm betting against someone else. All right. So I can go in there and say, there's my pick. I'm going to wager this much. We're going to keep going. I'm going to bet against someone. And if you look at the sheet here, well, you can see a lot of people have got bets on some of these games. I can bet against these people here. I can do all kinds of stuff. And you can do that with our friends at BroThrow, and you can do it just by clicking on the link in the description. That sends you to our Southeastern 14 group, which is such a great group, isn't it, Chris? What a bunch of great people are in this group here at Southeastern 14. And then you can go into the group. You can just bet against the people who are in our group. You don't have to, go out there and bet against the books, all this other stuff. You're just betting against other people. So be sure to do that. These are a lot of fun. So now that I've stalled here, Chris, with our friends at BroThrow, if I had to make a bet right now on one of these and what I'm going to go with, oh man, you put me on the spot here. What would yours be? Let me go to you first.
Mine would be A&M -3.
Ooh.
And I will tell you why. To me, 18 is a lot for Missouri, given what South Carolina's done on the road. Georgia, Ole Miss, I just don't have a good feel, especially with Roberts maybe being out. I'd have to look that one up. And Morrell has come back. Ole Miss has not quit. I'm not. And Ole Miss is also missing. Oh, good grief! The point guard Ruffin. He's done for the year. That's another thing. And Kentucky, my second one might be Kentucky -2.5.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. I think I'll go A&M out of that group. It's the Georgia Ole Miss one I thought about, but I don't trust either team right now. So
yeah.
And I don't trust. I think Arkansas. There's a path to victory for Arkansas and Lexington. So I don't think I would pick that one. I think Auburn. Like I said, I think that picking against Auburn is just what Auburn's had to do these past couple of weeks and who they've had to play. And yeah, it feels like a challenge to try to go win at A&M, and Buzz will have them ready, I believe. So,
especially after the first one and how that went. So,
yeah, there you go.
Anyway, parting thoughts.
Well, I think we managed to make somebody angry at every fan base, probably just given the reaction to. Again, it was a wild weekend of games. Our power rankings. This is the tough part of the season where you get into February. It's just a lot of, you're like, well, we've seen a lot of games, but we still don't know what this means for some of these teams, right? The SEC has been really difficult to read this year outside of, again, I think the top team and even the number 2 team we have right now, I think can be a little difficult to read at times. So, it's been an interesting season, but if you want to follow all our stuff, hit that subscribe button. Obviously, we have multiple videos going up every day. We got baseball stuff on the way, lots of previews up. Football stuff. Hey, we're even expanding into our women's basketball coverage. We're going to probably have some videos up on that in the near future. What are we not doing at this point? I mean, we're just doing all kinds of stuff.
Sleeping.
So, well, yeah, but I mean, come on, that's a given. We sleep in May, as someone likes to say. But yes, I mean, I think there's plenty of stuff. So hit that subscribe button. We appreciate all your support of all of our coverage. We do this for you guys, and so yes, we always appreciate it. Even if you don't have to agree with us all the time, we just do this because we enjoy doing it and we enjoy the interaction. So we appreciate all of the great feedback and your support of our channel.
All right. Thanks for watching. He's Blake Lovell. I'm Chris Lee. We're Southeastern 14. Again, hit that subscribe and like button. That helps us out. We'll see you again soon.